Andrew. We've lost Andrew and the show hasn't even started. How are we going there, Michael? Doing well?
How are you, Brad?
Yeah, good. Just getting fired up and ready for our ranking the tracks for Cream. This wonderful DVD. This I've been looking forward. I've been watching this all week, just on and off.
Here Saturday afternoon, so it looks like we might have some internet connections with myself. So if I have any internet connections, guys, when you guys are talking, please continue the show. Are we back live?
We are.
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, that's cool. I had some spinning wheels.
We were just about to continue without you anyway, Andrew. Michael and I can talk about this for hours anyway, so it's fine.
Yeah, no problem. Unfortunately, that might be the case. The weather here is bad, and yeah, we do have internet issues sometimes. So if I don't join you guys, I will get back at some stage. Hold on, guys. Hold on. TikTok, it's time to rock. We've got some people here waiting for us. We've got our very good friend Arvin. We've got Sonia, who's been sharing the show. Quinton James, good to see you, Quinton. Our very good friend from the UK, Derek, is in the chat, who offers some outstanding comments as well to some of the streams that we've done. Need to get Derek on a live show, guys. And our co-host from the Sunday show has left a comment, Simon Williams, saying that he'll check out the replay. So everyone has to be on their best behavior this evening. That includes myself. No more swearing, no swear words. And stick to the agenda. I just want to do a special shout out also to Kurt, who co-hosts the 5150 show with Brad and I as well. So as I understand, and Michael, you're there in the US, it's Memorial Weekend for our American brothers and sisters, an important weekend, an important time for people to remember people who have gone and, laid down their lives for our countries in battles and wars. So we're patriots here, and so we just extend a warm Memorial Weekend to our American friends, and obviously to you, Michael. So have some fun, you guys, this weekend, but also remember the sacrifice that was given to us by generations of brave people. Take that seriously.
Yes.
Well said. Thank you.
No problem. Guys, I've been hanging out for this show. For a couple of reasons. Eric Clapton is very dear to this show. Eric Clapton is probably one of the reasons why we're all playing the guitar. And we continue to love music because of that legacy that he's given us, amongst many others. But he's certainly in the top three for me. We all know that Michael has Eric Clapton tattoos all over him, except not on his forearms, because Michael is a Eric Clapton nut, and I know Brad, I know you are too. So we're in good company.
Yeah, we're around the Clapton nuts. That's great.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this. So the format, obviously, guys, if you're familiar with what we do here on this channel, if you're not and you're watching because Michael has pulled you over to join us, we normally have one of the co-hosts will go through and, give a bit of a introduction, talk about, a song, some highlights, some aspects of the song that they think is unique, and we offer a ranking and whether or not anything is a skip. Brad always appreciates anybody offering their opinion in the chat, so don't be surprised if Brad stops us and gets you guys in the chat to offer your opinion. So please, we participate with our chat as much as we can. Any questions for Michael or Brad, please fire them. If we can't answer them today, one of us will come back and answer it after the show. So we appreciate that. Michael's been busy answering a couple of comments on previous shows, so that's always good. So I've done enough talking. I'm going to pass it over to my co-hosts and let them talk about something, and I'm going to sit back and enjoy the show. Thank you guys for joining us. One more thing. Well, I've got to... Here we go. Here we go. Where are we? If you haven't followed Brad, there he is. Easy. On Instagram, at Brad Cook Music. Follow Brad. He'll keep you up to date with everything he's doing and with what we do over there. And if you have a look at this channel here, Michael's been a comedian this week. Go and have a look at some of Michael's posts. He's put up some interesting posts. The Milky Way. Yeah. Check out Michael at I Happen to Have as well, and he'll even keep you up to date with any future Clapton specials and shows that we do. We've got a lot planned with Michael. You know, he's got another friend, Godfrey, that's going. Yeah, it's just a matter of coordinating and getting topics and making sure that we've got time. But if you sub to these guys, you'll be up to date with everything that we've got planned in the future. Thank you.
Awesome.
All
right. So in 2004, Clapton dreamed up this idea for Cream to reunite. And it had been, at that time, 36 years since they've played a full concert. And Eric reached out to Jack and Ginger and asked them if they wanted to do it, if they wanted to reunite for a couple of gigs. And I think initially Ginger Baker was kind of against it because he was afraid that he was going to get into some arguments with Jack, because back in the day, Jack and Ginger didn't get along. And a lot of it was due to Jack's onstage volume. A lot of times he would have his Marshall stacks very loud, and that would cause hearing damage to Ginger Baker's hearing. And so initially, I think Ginger was a no on these reunion gigs, but I think Clapton turned him around. And Jack was for it, and obviously Eric was for it. And so in 2005, they got together for 4 dates at London's Royal Albert Hall, which is a familiar venue to them because that was where they last played their goodbye gig in 1968. So they were reuniting at the Royal Albert Hall once again, this time with a lot better sound, a lot better video. And we are so grateful for the advancements in technology because we get to finally enjoy them the way Cream should be presented.
Good point.
Yep.
So the shows were May 2nd, May 3rd, May 5th, and May 6th. And for the first 3 shows, Clapton had the flu. And for the 4th show, he was finally feeling better. And the 4th show on May 6th, the final show, they recorded 14 performances or 13 performances, I believe, that made it to DVD. So that's what you call having an incredible night. And I think it is one of the most amazing nights of their career. May 6th, 2005. So without further ado, I'm going to begin talking about the tracks, starting with I'm So Glad. I'm So Glad was taken from May 6th, the final night of the reunion. And the band walks on stage in great spirits to a standing ovation. And I'm So Glad, as a song choice, is very symbolic of the opportunity that the band had to be doing this in the first place. The fact that they were all healthy enough to be doing this and getting back together. And I think I'm So Glad is a great choice for a first song. This song is a Skip James cover, and Cream did a lot of covers back in the day. They repopularized these songs. It was part of the blues revivalist movement. So again, this was originally written by Skip James and covered by Cream. Ginger Ginger's drumming on the song is absolutely incredible from the get-go. Jack and Eric's voices are very strong. And as a first song on the DVD, when you see them in this very well-rehearsed form, it's very good to see, because it's the first thing that you're seeing after 37 years of not playing a full show. So again, the last time they played a full show was 1968, and this is 37 years later in 2005. The band had actually played a one-off show at their 1993 Hall of Fame, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction, where they only played 3 songs. So I'm So Glad starts the set. Jack's bass playing is fantastic. Ginger's backbeat is perfect. He never misses a beat. And Clapton gives a couple of minutes solo, and it's just a great way to start this album. And it's a different feel from the studio version, for sure, but it's very fresh. And I have to give it a 10 out of 10. Brad?
Well, you took a lot of my notes away from me there, Michael. But like I said in the green room, I think we're just going to elaborate a little bit on things you haven't touched on. So for me, I will say this, that watching this for the first time, there was like this excitement. I could imagine what it would have been like at Royal Albert Hall that night for the first time to actually be part of that. So there was a remarkable amount of excitement when I put this on for the first time. I sat there in awe. I just couldn't believe that I was actually getting to see Cream live. I mean, I know it's only on a, digital format as opposed to being there, but that was enough for me to get the excitement and the hair raised and get, I have to say, you could tell they were really well rehearsed. They came out, they were vocally really strong. They all playing on the top of their game. I mean, you got to remember, these are not younger fellows anymore. In Cream, they were young dudes. They were young guys, and they're revisiting this stuff with a fresh approach. For me, I'm so glad. I really enjoyed Eric's playing on it. It's different to what he used to play in Cream. Same with Ginger and same with Jack. They slight differences with their playing to what they used to play in Cream, but again, it's just modernized version of what they were doing. So I gave it a 10 out of 10 as well. And it's wonderful how 37 years had passed and they walked back on stage, but it was clearly evident to me that they'd rehearsed quite a bit. Andrew.
Yeah, look, I agree with you guys. I think it's a remarkable opening track. Obviously, the lyrics, the suit an opening track. Obviously, they're so glad they're back. As my co-hosts have said, after 37 odd. Well, who's counting? 40 years, of not being together on the stage, bar once, as Michael said. So if we were glad and Brad was glad and Michael was glad and everyone else was glad, certainly Clapton, Baker and Bruce were glad. And it showed in that opening track, right from those arpeggio chords that Clapton has on that opening riff. You knew that these guys were here to do something, because it wasn't that distinct. So it wasn't that separate or different from the tracks that we knew. So I was relieved, that we were going to be getting something that was going to be, like the originals. It's not going to be something like, Cream with an orchestra or something, So those feelings were certainly knocked away after this opening song. I just want to say one little thing though about Ginger Baker. His on the beat, it's just fantastic, and you can see a musician concentrating. He is concentrating. You look at some of the earlier footage of him when he's playing with Cream, when he's playing with Blind Faith. He seems to be winging it a little bit, because that's the impression I get, because he's so laid back and he's smiling and he's looking at what's going on around him. but certainly on this gig here, he wants to get it right. And I think we spoke about this last week, and it shows. We're looking at a musician, and I think from memory, when I've spoken to a few drummers over the years, we talk about DVDs or songs being great for guitar players and blues guitar players. Apparently, this is a masterclass for blues rock drumming. So 10 out of 10, never a skip, and remarkable.
Yeah, I agree. That leads us to the second song of the set, which is Spoonful, which was also taken from the final night of the reunion on May 6th. This is song 2, which is another cover, this time by Howlin' Wolf. Clapton starts off the song with a good amount of aggression, and that's really cool to see, because Clapton is a completely different person than he was in 1968. And aggression in his playing was not a common thing to see. So it was cool to see him be a little bit aggressive without breaking the guitar up, as he had said in that 1968 DVD. But he plays that intro with a lot of aggression, and Jack's vocal performance is outstanding on that song.
Yeah.
Eric builds a solo, his guitar solo, the only way that he could. And it's just another example of how great he is. After Eric's solo, the band takes down the volume as a whole, and it's really great. And they build back up into the final verse. And it just shows their incredible control. And they definitely rehearsed a lot for these shows. I read that they rehearsed for a month before May. And it definitely shows how tight they were. And I'm going to have to give this one a 10 out of 10 as well. Brad?
Spoonful's always been one of my favorite Cream tracks. And again, touching on what you said there, Michael, they actually came out. Eric was on top of his game for this. It just felt like, obviously, they were so comfortable with what they were doing. I absolutely love the dynamics that they put in the way they perform this. And for me, it's a classic example of three-piece just gelling, and there's structure within the song, but there's also that little leniency for improvising as well. And it's all done on visual contact, bit of nod here and there. And you can see that you can see Jack Bruce, you can see Ginger Baker watching each other. You can see Jack looking at Eric while he's soloing. You can see that they're reading each other. You can really see it's evident that magic that they had in that day. I mean, and in a band situation, that dynamic or chemistry, you can't just create that. That's something you can't just get together with three people and all of a sudden you've got that chemistry. It's unique. It's something that only happens every now and again, and fortunate people like these three people managed to come together in Cream. They had that, and it was evident. You could see that they just recaptured that straight off the bat. So again, I love Spoonful. I gave it a 10 out of 10, and it's like by this time, by the second and third song in watching this DVD, I was emotional watching it. I was just emotional watching it. So I tried to put myself back in that frame of mind when I was ranking these tracks. So 10 out of 10. And Andrew?
It's one of my favorite. It's my favorite version of Cream performing this song. That opening riff that Eric does in E, it's pretty good. Even I can play it, it's like Brad said, it's a good example of a three-piece band. How many guys can play this song? You can pick up an acoustic guitar and play it. It's just, it's a classic blues song. But these guys do something different with this song. That guitar tone that Eric has on this song's a little bit different from, I'm so glad he's cranked it up a bit. melted when I first saw it. I just remember being excited, ecstatic, natural high, and it's the definitive version of the song for me, guys. And because of that, I'm going to give it my first Brad score. It's a 20 out of 10, and it's never a skip.
Oh. I think I have to agree with you. I think it is my definitive version as well.
I think it's mine too, Andrew. So yeah, I should probably re-rank it and give it a Brad score as well. 20 out of 10.
I'm saving my 20 out of 10s for other songs, and maybe.
I haven't finished my coffee yet.
Yeah, there might be a few surprises here, ladies and gentlemen, folks in the chat. But as Brad said, give us your rankings. We've got a few ranks in there. Steve reckons I'm so glad it's a 10 out of 10. So we're on par with everybody, guys. Next song, Michael.
Next song is Outside Woman Blues, which is another cover originally written by Blind Joe Reynolds all the way back in 1929. First thing I want to mention is Ginger Baker's drumming. His accents on the ride bell are very tasty and a great lesson to drummers. So pay attention to what Ginger is doing in that song. Jack Bruce plays his iconic bass part from the studio original that they do, and that's great to hear. Clapton gives 2 guitar solos, which is one more than the studio version that they did. Clapton doesn't really use his woman tone for this. He's using the second pickup combination on his Strat, which he really likes. And so it's a different tone from the woman tone for sure. It's more bell-like, stratty tone. And I really love what he does in each of these solos. And at the end of the second solo, you even hear the audience applauding before the end of the solo. So that's pretty cool. Just shows how amazing he was and how receptive the audience was. He was insanely on that night, but that goes for the other two in the band. Cream as a whole were firing on all cylinders that night. I much prefer the 2005 version to the studio version, just because it has the 2 solos, and Eric's voice has made a giant leap from when he was in his early 20s to when he was in his 50s. His voice got this full bodiness to it, and he developed this husky, bluesy vocalist tone. And this is the first song where Eric sings lead. And it's just a great example of Eric's development as a singer. And at one point, you actually see a shot of the stage where you see a rose in front of Eric's floor monitor. And Jack is smiling because someone threw a rose on the stage to Eric. So it's just a very funny sight, and Eric definitely deserved it because, like I said, he was on fire at that show. I have to give it a 10 out of 10, and maybe I'll demonstrate 1 or 2 of the solos after you guys finish your ranking. Brad?
Please do.
Excellent. Looking forward to that, Michael. For me, I'm glad you brought up Eric's vocal. For me, he's through the years become an amazing singer within his own right. I mean, we always talk about his guitar playing, but vocally, he's probably, one of my top, favorite sort of blues singers. For me, he's got everything that a blues singer should have, really, in his voice. He's got the richness, he's got the fullness, he knows vocal technique. I think we've spoken about this on another episode. So yeah, for me, his vocals on this are the highlight. I love his guitar solos. I'm looking forward to your little demonstration there, Michael. And the 3-piece thing, again, there's just that little bit of, there's so much space between the notes going on. The dynamics are there. I gave it a 10 out of 10. And Andrew, I'll hand it over to you, buddy.
Yeah. Yeah, look, I agree. I think the solo in this version is much better than that thinnish kind of solo you get on the studio version. But I just have to say to you guys, I never really this was never a standout song for me for a long time. It was just like a Cream song, but it wasn't until they came out with the making of the album, the Disraeli Gears album, when they were talking about Outside Woman Blues, and Eric's talking about it, how it's a bluesman has his wife, and then he has all these outside women, outside womanses, and I thought, that's the blues, man, and so because of that, I thought, okay, so my appreciation of the song was piqued by that comment, and then I went back and studied it a little bit more, and then when this came out, the DVD, which is echoing the original but so different, but within that parameter, it's nothing crazy. It's great. I love it, and it's a 10 out of 10, and it's never a skip. And I do look forward to Michael playing some solos, because we were privy to him doing this a couple of weeks ago on his Instagram account. So I'm going to present him, guys. Sit back.
Okay. So for Outside Woman Blues, Clapton's using the second pickup combination on his Strat.
Be amazed.
And he's got a Stratty tone for it, opposed to the woman tone that he uses on the studio version. So I'll do the first solo, which goes around for 2 times. So. And then so that wasn't completely like his solo. I kind of flubbed it. And then the second solo is. That was closer.
Well done.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sounded great, Michael. Sounded great. Makes me want to pick up my guitar and play.
Yeah. Just trying to remember it without any reference. So.
That's always hard to sit and play a guitar solo that you've learned from a recording, or like from this, for example, solo, like, with no backing, no drums, no bass, filling out the giving you the feel. So well done.
Thank you. I think others.
Okay, unfortunately, I missed it all.
Oh, really?
Oh,
yeah, unfortunately, I missed it.
That's all right. I'll do it again another time.
That's okay. I'll go back and watch the the replay. I'll just mark that at the 30 minutes. So yeah, look, sorry guys if we have some internet connections. Apologize.
You apologize in advance.
Yeah. Well, he's
Guys,
in.
We've got no control over that, but we'll do the best that we can.
Yeah, excellent.
That leads us to our next song, which is Pressed Rat and Warthog. I believe this is the first time the song was ever performed, and it's a song written by Ginger Baker. And he had said in an interview that if he didn't perform this song, his family would kill him. So I'm very glad that he did this, and it was cool to see him sing for once while drumming. What was that, Andrew?
You're back.
Just carry on, guys. Don't bother about me. Just carry on because I'll be dropping in and out. Unfortunately, I've got a bad internet connection, so just carry on, guys.
No problem. So Pressed Rat and Warthog is a spoken word poem, but it is recited by Ginger while he's drumming. And it's a pretty simple song, I would say, just a couple of chords, but it kind of has this journey epicness to it. And I don't mean Journey the band. I mean, it has this adventurous type feel to it. And again, it's very cool to see Ginger singing while playing the drums. And at the end of the spoken word poem, they go into a 2-chord vamp, which is just D and C. And over that progression, Jack is playing an incredible bass line. And so the next time you listen to it, pay attention to what Jack is doing. And I would say it's some of the most inventive bass playing I've heard in a long time. And the studio version actually had trumpet played by their producer, Felix Pappalardi. So this had a different feel from the studio version, but it was still very interesting and very full. I'm going to have to give this a 10 out of 10. And definitely go check it out to watch Ginger Baker sing or recite the spoken word.
Rap.
I loved this. Watching them perform this and watching Ginger sing, I loved it. I even made note of how Ginger had the lyric sheet beside him on a stand just in case he forgot the lyrics, which I thought that was like gold. I mean, that's just classic musician, even at their level, after all these years, they still need little cheat sheets here and there, which is remarkable because I've done, filling gigs where I've had to sing stuff and I'm thinking, how the hell am I going to remember all these lyrics? So I've printed out lyric sheets and things like that. So, yeah, even at that level, they still do it. It just made me feel like I'm not that far off that level. It's just, I haven't got the success, But anyway, look, I absolutely love watching them do this. I love watching Ginger sing. There's something that's quite heartwarming to see that because we know Ginger is quite a character, and he was quite a character. He was a bit of a grumpy old sort of fella, but wonderful guy. And I loved, like I said, it gave me goosebumps watching this. It warmed my heart, so I've got to give it a 10 out of 10 without a doubt. The playing on it's fantastic, and just goes to prove that some drummers can actually sing while they're playing drums. Andrew.
Look, guys, this is one number on this DVD that I reckon, in my opinion, that you have to see on the DVD. The DVD offers more about what the song is trying to do than the CD version of the song. I don't like the CD version of the song when I'm driving and it comes on my playlist. And I'll tell you why. It's just, yeah, I don't appreciate it as much as I do when I see it on the DVD. So, Brad's already pointed out, having the lyric sheet there, because Ginger is so dedicated to making sure that his drumming is on time, that there was, a generation of drummers watching him, so, but he couldn't fluff the lyric too. So, that was a dead giveaway. I love that. The bass line, I agree with Michael. The bass is fantastic. But look, I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10. Never a skip. The DVD version offers more insight for me as a Clapton fan, as a Cream fan, than the CD version. I would probably skip the CD version or the Spotify version. So I hope that doesn't put me in any timeout zones. But yeah, next song, guys.
Before we go to Sleepy Time, one last thing on Pressed Rat and Warthog that I wanted to mention was that the first time they performed that at the reunion, Jack Bruce became emotional just to hear Ginger singing. And it just, revived all of those feelings from 37 years ago, I guess, when they wrote it. So that was very cool to hear in an interview. That leads us to Sleepy Time. So they actually recorded 2 really good takes of Sleepy Time at these shows. A version from the second night, May 3rd, made it to DVD, as well as May 6th, which was the final night. And this song is the first original, is actually the second original song of the set. So the first original song was Pressed Rat and Warthog, and the second original song is Sleepy Time. And it was written by Jack Bruce and his first wife, Janet Godfrey. I want to mention Ginger Baker's ride cymbal on this track specifically because it is a blues. It's a slower blues. And you really hear the airiness in his ride cymbal. It must be a jazz ride cymbal, but it sounds breathtaking. And kudos to mixer Mick Guzowski, who said that Ginger wasn't happy with the drum cymbal sound. He wanted the cymbals to sound brighter, but I think that the drums sound great. What do you guys think?
I love the drum sound.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. So this song also features very strong vocals from Jack Bruce and harmony vocals from Clapton. So again, I mentioned that they got 2 versions of this that made it to DVD, from the second night and from the fourth night. And Eric's wearing a black shirt one of those nights and the light blue shirt on the final night. On the version that made the DVD, the main version, where Clapton's wearing the black shirt, Clapton starts off the guitar solo on his neck pickup, which is this pickup. And at one point in the solo, he switches pickups from the neck pickup to the bridge pickup. And his playing becomes more aggressive as well. And it's a really cool sight to see because it just reminds listeners and viewers about Clapton's playing in the 60s, which was definitely more aggressive than it was in the 2000s. So definitely check that out when he goes, my amp is off. He's on here. So he does that little flurry of notes, and it's really great. And I believe he has his mid boost engaged too, to create a thicker sound with the bridge pickup. So. That type of sound.
Beautiful.
Is what Eric's going for in that performance when Eric's wearing the black shirt. So just a great moment. Check that out on the DVD. I'm going to have to give this a 10 out of 10 as well.
Beautiful. I've always loved this track. I mean, I think when we did one of the last Cream episodes, one of the live Cream ones, I think we went through this track and we analysed it from there. But I actually love this version of it, and I think I'm sort of leaning on this version as being one of my favourites now. I love Eric's playing. I love how you highlighted how he's more aggressive there, Michael, in his playing than previously. There's something about this track that's the whole sleepy time thing that seems a little bit strange vocally to me, but I don't understand it. But putting that aside, the track itself is the way they performed it on the night. There was so much energy. Look, I can't sort of touch on any more than what you already have, Michael, but I gave it a 10 out of 10 as well. I love it. I love Clapton's playing on this particularly. There's little things he does in this track that reminds me of his playing in like the 60s with Cream in like versions of Crossroads and everything like that I've heard. So I'm hearing similarities there 37 years later. So it's amazing.
Yeah, look, I agree with you guys. I'm not going to say this version is a definitive version, but it's up there as one of my favorite versions of the song. Always loved it. When I found out that Jack's wife was involved in it, so that's really good. Sleepy time. Just love it. Product of its era, that psychedelic era. Good to see that these guys brought that song back for this concert, for the reunion tour. That could be a show in itself. What songs should they have included, and what songs should they have, not included? Maybe that's something we can talk about. 10 out of 10, never a skip.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. I have to mention, when I saw Cream in New York later that year in 2005, I saw them on the first night. So that was October 24th, 2005. So I had been watching this DVD for a couple of months before the New York shows. And I was sitting with my dad in one section, and my mom and my sister got seats in another section on the opposite side of the arena. We couldn't get 4 seats together. And during Sleepy Time, my mom told me that my sister fell asleep on some fan's shoulder, some guy's shoulder sitting next to her. And the guy didn't fight it. So I think that's hysterical for someone to fall asleep to a song called Sleepy Time. It's perfect. So I don't know many people that have had that experience, but now we know that it's a good lullaby. Not for blues fans, though. For blues fans. Yeah, at that time she was 9 years old. So maybe it was past her bedtime. Who knows? Oh, October 24th? Yeah, October 24th, yeah. Okay, that leads us to the next song on the DVD, which is NSU, which stands for non-specific urethritis, which is what Eric Clapton had back in the 60s. And that's what they wrote this song for. And this song begins with thundering drums from Ginger Baker, just like the studio version has, except it sounds so much fuller now that it's not just panned to one ear. It's in the stereo field, much better. I want to note that Jack and Eric changed the vocal harmonies from the studio version to the DVD version. So in the studio version, they're actually singing these notes. So in the DVD, the reunion DVD, they're actually singing these notes instead. Instead of so they made a variation so that they didn't have to sing that high. So that Jack didn't have to sing this note. So that's a B. I'm sorry, that's not a B. That's an A. So Jack didn't have to sing this A note and instead sung an F note as the top note of the song. So that just shows how musicians make variations because of age or whatever reason. I'm sure Jack could have hit that A note easily, but they decided to do that. And it still sounds really, really great. This is one of the first songs where we get to see Cream jam. The other songs, there's soloing, but there's not what I would consider jamming. And after about 1 minute of the song, they launch into about a 3-minute jam. And NSU had gone on for 7 minutes on the live Cream record. So to get 3 minutes of soloing on the reunion DVD is pretty nice. It's not as extended as they would do in the 60s, but it was still very inventive and I would say inspired. So I'm going to give this a 10 out of 10. And I like the visuals in the background, even though it looks like Windows Media Player psychedelic projections, which anyone can do. It adds to the psychedelic nature of the music and these songs. So 10 out of 10 from me on NSU. Brad?
Yeah, I noted the psychedelia visuals in that, but I actually thought it looked pretty cool. I'm big on that. I mean, I'll put that in one of my own song film clips and things like that. I love all that stuff. So, but my take on this song is very similar to yours, Michael. Definitely, they open up a little bit in this track. That's the notes I made. They open up. They start improvising quite a bit. So jamming, they're having fun. There's amazing three-piece chemistry going on there. Again, you can see them all watching each other. Clapton's his playing is, we haven't seen him play this way in a long time at this point. So it was refreshing. I actually really enjoyed this version. I think, I think I mentioned this last episode. I really am leaning towards most of the versions on this as being my favorite Cream songs now. The versions of them, the way they played them. I have to give it a 10 out of 10. It's remarkable the way they pulled this one off on stage. The harmonies, the way they work them out. That's the true sign of working musicians when they know they can do something a little bit easier to make it, so they can perform it correctly on stage every night without having to push themselves to limits and things like that. So what I'm getting at is when they rehearsed it, they've obviously gone, no, I'm going to note that one because that works better. We're going to be able to pull that off every night, whether we're sick, dying, or indifferent. So let's do it this way. And they've rehearsed it that way. 10 out of 10 for me. Andrew?
Oh, look, I love this song. The live Cream version's outstanding. It opens that album with this song. So, I'm not going to add any more because you guys have covered enough, but I'm just going to say that the tightness that Clapton has between the bass and the treble notes on his guitar on the song is just that thickness he has. Oh man, it just drips goodness. I love it. That tone, his guitar tone. This is again, this is something else, guys. That we're listening to, and I get a little bit concerned when guitar players offer an opinion, and that's okay because we are opinionated people when it comes to music, especially if we're guitar players, and that's fine. But I don't like it when educated guitar players just write this off and say, that it's a horrible tone, or there's no progression, or there's no variance, or there's no difference in the tone. I'm deaf, and if I can hear the differences in what Clapton is playing on these songs, you must be stone deaf. We've got something else going with Clapton's tone on this song. Love it. 10 out of 10, guys. And look, I've got to agree with what Brad said. A lot of these songs are definitive, defining songs. And I think it's because we're sitting there, because we're visual guys as well, and girls, so we're seeing that whole performance. We're not just hearing it on a CD, we're seeing it. So I think that's the attraction that I have with it. Love it. Next song, Mike.
Yeah, before we go on to Badge, I just wanted to quickly mention the double bass drumming that Ginger does on NSU during the guitar solo. Definitely check that out next time you watch this DVD. It's really fantastic. He's still got his chops.
Not bad.
Yeah. Which leads us to the next song, Badge, which is another original song. So we had Pressed Rat and Warthog, Sleepy Time Time, NSU, and Badge. So we're having a segment of original songs before some covers reappear. So Badge was written by Cream and George Harrison, which is a very cool thing. And George Harrison had written the bridge section, which Clapton mistook for Badge, which is how the song got the title. So I'll play that afterwards. But the bridge in Badge, or the badge in Badge, is this section. And I'm turning on my Leslie simulator pedal. So this is what that bridge Badge sounds like. So in Badge, Cream actually performs this like the original studio version, which is very nice. It's not like the Clapton solo version that we know and are used to. So they went back to the studio recordings as a reference. And it's pretty true to the original. So there's no extended codas and no where is my badge. They end the song after the final verse. It doesn't go into any extended soloing. Clapton's guitar is going through a Leslie speaker for the bridge section, just like the original. And he is using a Leslie speaker powered by a Marshall JCM 800, which he had been using for several years. He was using it on the One More Car, One More Rider tour, where he's playing Badge. He's got that same Marshall JCM 800 powering the Leslie speaker. The guitar solo is fantastic, and it shows how Clapton connects a lot of brilliant ideas together. And I'll play as much of that solo as I can afterwards, after your guys' rankings. Jack Bruce plays the original bass line from this song, and that bass line is iconic. And I would say that's one of the best rock bass lines in history. The walk down is so great, and Jack doesn't miss a beat on bass, and I'm very glad that he kept to that original part. But if you write something that's good, you gotta do that. It just becomes part of the fabric that we're used to. The only thing that this song is really missing is Felix Pappalardi's piano from the original version, but we don't really miss it because the band is filling out the sound. And Clapton is arpeggiating chords instead of going. Clapton is playing. This is the same chord in Pink Floyd's Breathe. So Clapton's using this chord as well. Sounds great.
Wonderful.
I love Ginger Baker's triplets, just like the original studio recording. Takata, takata, takata. Killer. Absolutely killer. It's propulsive. It pushes the band into that section, into that chorus. It's fantastic. I'm going to say that this is the best version of the song, and I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10. Definitive. Badge. Brad?
Well, thanks for highlighting those little parts there, Michael, because that arpeggiated chord is like what makes it sound goosebumpy to me. It gives me the goosebumps hearing all that articulation on the guitar there, which is something that, we give Clapton a lot of credit for his lead playing and his feel when he's playing. but his rhythm playing is remarkable as well, and that's
Yeah.
something that we never give him enough credit for. So those articulate sort of things that he does was amazing on this version of this song. I love the song Badge. It's one of my favorite sort of Clapton Cream songs. I've loved the way Clapton performs it in his solo band, and I love how he performs it on this as well. This is, like you said, one of the definitive versions for me. I actually can't get past this version of it now that I've been listening to it all week as well. It's like I'm back to listening to this version as opposed to other versions that have been my favorites. I want to highlight his lead playing in this song. His tone is remarkable on the guitar. I'm looking forward to your little demonstration coming up, Michael. I have to give this song a 20 out of 10. It's probably one of my favorites on the DVD. Without a doubt, it's up there, and the band is so good. Ginger's playing amazingly, Jack's playing amazingly. It's just that unity. And forgive me if I'm wrong, but I think this is the first time that Cream had actually played this song live. Is that correct?
Correct.
So there you go. It's remarkable for me. 20 out of 10. And Andrew.
Look, there's a lot of reasons why I should give this song a 20 out of 10, and one of the curses of going third, ladies and gentlemen, is that your co-hosts are going to steal a lot of your points that you may have made in your notes. So, but I'm just going to echo what Michael and Brad have said, if you allow me. So, look, I agree. It's the first time that this band sung this song together. I've loved all the versions of Badge. I love them all. And one of the reasons why I love a song, it's not necessarily because of, the way they've played it or who's played it or where it was recorded. The fact that Clapton wrote this with George Harrison, a Beatle, one of the greatest bands the greatest band in the world, and one of the greatest guitar players in the world, just sends chills up my spine. Because of that, I just imagine being around or making a cup of tea for them while they were writing this song. I've thought, jeepers, I love that. I love thinking about things like that, guys. So, look, I'm going to give it a 20 out of 10 too. It's never a skip. One of the best versions ever, and just brings tears to your eyes, because, as Brad said, it's the first time that these guys had played the song together. But we've heard the song lots of times in Clapton's other bands. So, and there's some hot versions, but this one, cheapers.
This performance of Badge was taken from the second night when Clapton's wearing the black shirt. So May 3rd, 2005.
That's correct.
Something else I want to note is that Eric is very in control of his sound. He uses his mid boost for the transition chord, which is an A minor sustained chord. And immediately after he hits it, I'm going to just raise my guitar for a second, he'll go like this to engage his mid boost on his Clapton Strat, his master-built Clapton Strat. And that just makes the tone thicker and louder. So,
and you can hear that, Michael. You can hear that. It's just wonderful, isn't it?
Yeah.
And even hearing you do that one more time for us, everybody.
Sure.
Check it out.
So he'll go from this chord, a B minor seventh, to the A minor sustained chord.
Yeah.
And then he rolls off the mid boost to clean up the tone. Then he steps on his Leslie pedal, as I'm going to do, and then I'm going to just go into the riff and the solo.
Beautiful.
And then they're back.
Oh,
into this.
man.
Nowhere near dead on, but
Michael, you've got to, we've got to also note that that's just off the cuff for Clapton. So you're just doing an off the cuff solo, your impersonation of it. So it's going to be
right.
slight variant, but it was brilliant. So well done.
Thank you. Yeah, the fact that he tied all those melodies together and worked his way up and then back down again is brilliant, for sure. One of the best solos on this DVD.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to update my score from 10 out of 10 to 20 out of 10 on this. just because of how great the solo is. His voice, I don't think we mentioned his voice on this song. His voice is fantastic. Very strong. He's been singing that song for many years at that point, but it sounded really, really great at this show.
Yeah.
So 20 out of 10 on Badge for me. The next song is Politician, another original from Cream, written by Jack Bruce and, again, his first wife, Janet Godfrey. I want to mention Jack's vocal performance on Politician is extremely strong. Another notable excellent solo from Clapton. And after your guys' rankings, I'll do the solo from this one as well, because I love his solo on Politician. There's a great use of his mid boost, where he has the mid boost on for a majority of the solo. And towards the end, he rolls off the mid boost to clean it up. Let's see. I think that it's one of the heavier solos that Clapton has performed in recent years. So definitely check out this version of Politician when you guys get around to it. I mean, you guys have seen it, but I mean our viewers. It's just really fantastic. There's a point in Eric's guitar solo when he's bending up to a note and he's playing this rhythm over and over again. And at one point, Ginger Baker matches the rhythm of Eric's guitar playing, where when Eric's doing so at one point, Ginger is matching those rhythms, dun 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 dun, and it's a great synergy moment. And that's part of what made Cream so revolutionary, that they were listening to each other back then and reacting to what each other was doing and creating something bigger than the individual parts. So I'm going to give this a 10 out of 10. I think that it is miles better than the studio version, which I don't even know what key the original studio version is in. I listened to it and I was like, what is going on here? There's like many guitars happening, a lot of overdubs, and nothing sounds to be in tune. So I'm going to have to go with 10 out of 10 definitive version of Politician. Brad?
Totally agree with you, Michael. It's the definitive version of this song for me, the way they perform it. Miles better than, obviously, the recorded version. And, like you highlighted with the Jack Bruce and Clapton thing, that there's a lot of synergy. They're playing together a lot. There's a lot of that there. I have to give it 10 out of 10 as well. It's the definitive version of this song for me, on this DVD, without a doubt. So, Andrew.
Yeah, didn't Baker and Brown write this, Michael? That's what I've got on my notes. I think Sweet Wine was written by Baker and his wife.
We're on Politician.
Yeah.
Politician.
Yeah, it was written by Brown and
Bruce and Brown, yeah.
Jack Bruce. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So, look, again, you guys are reading my notes. I never really was on fire with the studio version 2. Never gripped me. This version is fantastic for a lot of the reasons that my co-hosts have said. the dynamic between the band is just growing. It's getting to a point, and we're looking at the DVD here. So obviously these are taken from different nights or whatever. So the DVD production is still trying to tell a story, isn't it? And it's one that's coming across pretty well. Not my favorite Cream song. But I'm glad that they did it. It's not my favorite. It's a 10 out of 10, never a skip, but it's in the deck of cards.
Yeah. All right, so I'm going to quickly demonstrate that solo, which features Eric using his mid boost for, again, a majority of the solo. So I'm just turning up the mid boost on my guitar, which has a Clapton loaded pickguard. At these shows, he was using vintage noiseless pickups, the TBX, and the mid boost, 25 dB mid boost that he has in his Clapton Strats. So here's what the riff sounds like in the middle pickup, which is what he's using on this song. So I'll just go from... So yeah, it's just killer. At one point, he goes from this full mid boost to really cool. Shows how in control of his sound he is.
Yeah. And the way you highlighted the riff as well, for me, the way that Clapton plays on this, you just showed basically all the highlights that for me makes it the definitive version. So well done.
Thank you. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you.
The next song is Sweet Wine. Here's another one of Cream's originals, and I would consider this song a jam track, a jam song, because a lot of their songs back in the day introduced a theme in a similar way that a jazz artist would do. You introduce a theme or a motif, and then you maybe play it one or two times, and then you go off into an improv section or a solo section. And Sweet Wine is an example of that, where they introduce this theme where on the original version, it was just Jack singing lead. But on this reunion DVD, Eric gets a little feature, a little vocal feature. And that's cool to hear. And then the band actually gets to spread out for a couple of minutes. They jam for about 4 minutes. Again, nowhere near as long as some live Cream versions from the 60s where they were jamming for 10, 12 minutes. But it's really great improv from the band, great ride cymbal work from Ginger, excellent bass runs from Jack, and Clapton's solo has a lot of riffs. I wouldn't say that it tells as much of a story as, say, the solo in Politician or the solo in Badge. It has more riffs that work together. And it's still really, really great. And I give this song a 10 out of 10 as well. Brad?
Yes. You touched on a lot of the things I was going to say, but basically, like the improv sections, I personally, I never really gave this song a lot of time until I watched it a lot this week. I used to potentially skip it, maybe. I don't know whether that's something that I maybe by this point in the DVD, I'd always grab a coffee or something like that. But
Hey, Caleb.
Hey, Caleb. After watching it a few times, I was like, wow, amazing.
Johnny Bean, the Johnny Bean guys are here. They've been watching Johnny Bean. So we've been raided, Michael. We've been raided by the guys from the Johnny Bean Show. Thank you for joining us. We've got Michael also from New York and Brad on the bottom there from Melbourne. And we're discussing, guys, this great... Hey guys, while you're here, if you haven't done this, I'm going to get you to check out Michael's Instagram, and here he is there. So there's Michael. Find Michael at Instagram at I Happen to Have. Michael, I'm going to present you. Do you want to just do a bit of a solo for a couple of minutes while we've got some guys in the chat here watching? Do you want to flip out a solo for us? Is that cool?
One that we've already covered. I could do.
Why not? Why not?
Yeah,
why not?
I'll do one that we already covered, so we don't, go too far ahead. So
blow some of these Van Halen fans away.
Do Badge again, I reckon.
Okay.
Do Badge.
All right. Here's Badge.
Wow. So you guys have rated us from the Johnny Bean Show. You've been witnessing a great guy all the way from New York who is a co-host with us on the British Electric Blues Show as we go through offering the rankings on this great... Where is it? Where is it? What's the DVD? There it is there. That DVD. How did you get out of that DVD, jeepers? And on the bottom there, you'll see some Instagram accounts. Follow Michael and Brad. We're on the bottom there. Thank you, guys. Where are we up to, guys, before we got raided?
Well, we got rated, so I was just about giving my ranking. So I gave it a 10 out of 10. Andrew,
For
sweet wine.
oh,
Sweet wine.
da 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 da. What a great intro. Love it. Yeah. Look. Again, product of its time. Great Cream song. Love it. Written with his wife, I think. Michael. I think Jack Bruce and his wife wrote this. Love the vibrato that Clapton is using. I agree with what Michael said. It's a song that's got riffs. So the vibrato that he's playing on this, on these solos, on these riffs, it's fantastic. Classic Clapton vibrato. 10 out of 10. Never a skip. One of the best versions. Could watch this on the DVD and certainly love listening to it when it's on the CD.
Yeah. That leads us to the next song, which is Rollin' and Tumblin'. This is a cover of Hambone Willie Newburns. And there is no bass guitar on the studio version, Cream's studio version, and or the reunion DVD. So the space is being filled by Ginger Baker's kick drum. And Ginger Baker's drumming on this song is notable because he's doing this repeated snare pattern, and the kick work is unbelievable as well. But he's doing this snare roll constantly, and he's got his hi-hat going as well. So any drummer knows it's hard to keep that up and hard to keep that consistent. And it just really sounds great. Jack Bruce is playing harmonica and singing vocals on this song, and he sounds fantastic as usual. Important to note that Clapton is using a different guitar for this song. He's using another Clapton Strat, but it's fitted with lace sensors instead of the vintage noiseless pickups that are seen here. So again, these are vintage noiseless pickups, and you can see the pole pieces. On the lace sensor pickups, which he used in the 90s and the 80s, you can't see the pole pieces. There's basically a pickup cover over this. And they have a different sound, and Eric wanted to use that sound for this song. And the guitar that he was using was set up for slide, so that means that the strings had a higher action, which means that the strings were further away from the fretboard of the guitar. So that when he's playing slide, there's not a lot of buzzing sounds. And guitarists will know what I mean by that. So it's a great performance. And the last time we heard Clapton do Rolling and Tumbling, or Rollin' and Tumblin', was in the 1992 Unplugged DVD. And you don't even get a full performance of that from Unplugged. It kind of fades in the middle of the song as the final track on the album. So it's nice to see Eric playing this once again, 13 years later in 2005. Let's see, anything else to say on this song? Yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm going to give this a 10 out of 10. The original version is great. The original studio recording of it is great. And the 2005 DVD version is also a great performance. 10 out of 10. Someone says Fade in the Strat.
Fade in the Strat. Maybe they want to hear you play again, Michael.
I'll play again on a couple of the next tunes that we talk about.
All right, cool. Well, for me, look, Ginger Baker's drumming on this is phenomenal. He's holding this down. There's no bass guitar in this. For me, Ginger's like the highlight of this. You know, he's really sort of slamming this home. So, yeah, I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10 based on the fact that I think Ginger held this together remarkably well. It's not my favorite performance of this song, but I enjoyed it nevertheless. I loved hearing Clapton play slide, and there's just that element of no bass guitar there. Just sort of it kind of loses a little bit for me. But that thumping on the bass drum that and I think in the mix, the way they've mixed it as well is remarkable. They've filled out that bass with the bass drum. So yeah, 9 out of 10 for me. And I'm not knocking it. It's remarkable. It's great. I'm glad they did it. I'm glad they performed it. Just, with all the 10s that I've rated so far, this one's just under it. So it's a 9 out of 10.
Awesome. I'm just going to do a quick shout out, guys. We've got Steve B5150, Chris Wheelton from the UK in the chat. Thank you, guys. Kyle Pinkerton, thank you for jumping in. Really appreciate it. Arvin, our very good friend. Michael B, it's been a while. Michael, how are you? Good to have you jump in. Johnny Heartbreaker, we know who he is. He's a very good friend of the show. Kelly, thank you. Caleb Nerd Halen, we know Nerd Halen is a Clapton nut as well. So thank you for joining us, everybody. Who else have we missed? Christopher, good to see you back in the chat joining us. And 7/8, Jay Hannon, thank you. Janice Lala, you guys are awesome. We appreciate you jumping on board. And if you haven't hit that subscribe button, please do. I'll have some links on this show for our co-hosts' other Instagram accounts. So thank you for that. That's really cool. Guys, this song, Rolling and Tumbling, it depends what kind of mood I am in when I listen to the song. If I'm a bluesman, and I'm listening to this selection, I love the song. It's a 10 out of 10. If I'm looking for that rock side of Cream, it's an 8 out of 10. It's not my favorite version of the song. I'm glad that Michael mentioned the unplugged version, because that's worth checking out. And we've done that album. So I'd love to look at maybe later on some future shows, maybe the three of us talking about that album, because I'd love to hear Michael's insights and observations on that album. So, we can go back and do these albums 3 or 4 times, guys, as information becomes available. But look, if I'm a Cream nut, 10 out of 10. So I'm fence sitting here, guys. First time I'm going to do that. But if I'm looking for that rock and roll Cream thing, I'm going to give it probably 8.
That's fair. Mm-hmm. I agree with you, Andrew. Actually, when I'm in blues nut mode, it's a 10, no problem at all. But for me, Cream wasn't just a blues band. They were touching on a lot of areas, psychedelia, So I want to hear the stretch out, and I want to hear those, bass drums and guitars together, and that. I mean, it was great. But I agree with you. Sometimes for me, I rang to 9 out of 10 because it's between the 8 out of 10 and the 10 out of 10. So that's where it was for me too, almost. So,
thanks, Kelly. We try to. We're just fans hanging out, talking about music we love.
Yeah, exactly.
Next song on the DVD is Stormy Monday. Stormy Monday, they got this take on the third performance, which was May 5th. Yeah, May 5th, 2005. And Clapton's wearing this color shirt. And that's the reason that I'm wearing this color shirt tonight. Last week, I wore a lighter blue shirt when we spoke about the Cream reunion. We spoke about the backstory to the Cream reunion. And I wore a different color shirt that matched Clapton's shirt from May 6th. So if you guys check out the British Electric Blues Show's YouTube channel, you'll see that. And that was a very fun show that we did. So definitely check out the channel and definitely subscribe if you haven't done so already. So Stormy Monday was recorded on the third performance, the third night of the 4 shows at London's Royal Albert Hall. And this was a song that wasn't originally in Cream's repertoire. So this was another cover that they were adding to the set. And it's originally written by T-Bone Walker. I love Eric Clapton's sound on this song. I love his husky vocals again. His voice developed so much from the 60s to 2005. And he grew into this adult blues singer that I think he wanted to become. I love the neck pickup sound. The neck pickup sound. So again, that's this pickup, this position. And Clapton starts off solo. does stuff like that, and then he goes into the blues turnaround that he does a lot. And that leads into Ginger Baker's incredible snare work. Definitely listen to the snare drum rolls that he's doing in that intro. Fantastic. And again, mix is brilliant. Mick Gutowski. This is the same guy who's mixed Daft Punk, the Random Access Memories album. So this guy has worked with everyone in every genre. This guy knows what he's doing. Yep. And I love the sound of this song. Clapton's vocal performance is fantastic, and he is into it. He's extremely into this song. And he loves singing blues, and it shows here. There's a great synergy moment that happens when Jack and Eric do the same thing. They go... And Eric turns to Jack because they didn't intend on doing that together. It just so happened that they played exactly the same thing. So they were on the same wavelength. Really awesome moment. And like I said, Eric turns to Jack and he smiles. And then he gives an incredible solo that he builds up in only a way that Eric can do. And I could play a little bit of that solo if you guys want to hear that afterwards.
Please do.
Yeah, I'll do that a little bit after you guys give your rankings of it. But I just want to mention that Eric plays this one note for like 18 seconds. He goes and hangs on to this note over and over and over again for 18 seconds. And he takes the audience for a ride. And afterwards, after your guys' rankings, I'll play some of that solo as best as I can remember. But cool. I'm going to give this a 10 out of 10 for the band's incredible interplay. And Jack's bass playing throughout is phenomenal. And he does this like one riff towards the end of the song. It's fantastic. Jack is a genius. And the whole band is. And their interplay is phenomenal, like I said. 10 out of 10 from me. Stormy Monday. Brad?
Well, the neck pickup tone on a Strat is probably one of the reasons why I own a Stratocaster. And I'm sure that's probably for a lot of us here, including the three of us. Like, I'm sure we all love that neck tone. And hearing Clapton walk out on stage in the DVD playing that with that neck pickup tone that we all love so much, that instantly is a 10 out of 10 for me. But, from the comment I made on the last song about blues, this is the type of blues that I think that suits Cream. They used to do Crossroads and they made it their own. They've made this their own version of it, which... the interplay between the three of them in this song is amazing, and it's highlighted throughout the song. When Clapton starts soloing, Jack Bruce and Ginger Baker, they hold it down. They've got this thing where there's that synergy between when Clapton goes off on a tangent, they hold it together. They're remarkable at what they play. And then when he comes back, then it's the three of them, and it's like the rhythm section becomes three again, not a bass and drum with a guitar on top. It's remarkable. And Clapton's playing on this. I mean, look, that neck tone, I could listen to it all day. To me, that's where it's at. I love Clapton when he hits that neck tone. He spends a lot of time in the 2 and the 4 position on the Strat. And when he hits that neck pickup for me, that's where it's all at. So I gave this a 20 out of 10. And I absolutely love it. Andrew.
Oh, jeepers. I don't know what to say after you two. As usual, it's the standout track for me on the DVD, guys. I just love this song. I was surprised when I saw it on the original DVD. It blew me away. And And as Michael said, it's not traditionally a Cream song, but it's, at home on this recording, on this DVD. And Brad said it, it's blues, it suits Cream. I love just about every version that everyone's done with this song. It's one of those songs that you have to know, and the Allman Brothers do a fantastic version. I just and you're probably thinking too, like me, when he's playing this song, Clapton's playing. I wonder if he's thinking about Dwayne, Sorry. But, I like to think about these kind of things. The tone on the guitar is just, as my co-hosts have said, it's just phenomenal. That thickness when he's flicking between the pickups that Michael's described, it's a classic case of a guitar player studying not only what a guitar player is doing with the right hand and their left hand, but what they're doing with the selectors. So I just want to congratulate Chris in the chat who's picked up a Strat this week. So you can't go wrong with the Stratocaster, brother. So you're going to do just about everything you can with the Strat. It's a great instrument. I look forward to Michael giving us a bit of a rundown, because, like I said at the top of the show, I watched him a couple of weeks ago roll through some of these numbers. So I'm going to present him. And this is never a skip. Defining track on the DVD for me, guys.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to try and attempt some of this solo. Forgive me if I don't play it note for note. So.
Wow.
The note heard around the world. Absolutely insane.
Well done. That was.
And I didn't mean to mock him at all, because it was absolutely brilliant. Yeah. And the audience is really loving it. And you can hear their uproar midway through the solo. And I think he feeds off of the audience. And it amps him up to play better. And this is just a great example of Eric and the audience working together to create something unbelievable. And it's one of the best solos on this DVD as well. Probably the best blues solo in recent years for Clapton, even though this is already 16 years ago from this month. Wild. And we'll always be studying that solo. Just shows what you can do with one note. Unbelievable. That's the power of Eric.
Isn't it crazy to think it was 16 years ago now?
Yeah, I was 14. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Just love his performance on this song. I think I gave it a 10 out of 10, but after playing it, I'm going to have to give it a 20 out of 10. I have to up my score.
It's okay to up it.
Yeah.
You can never go down. You can go up. You can't go down.
Yeah. Which leads us to the next song on the DVD, which is Deserted Cities of the Heart. Deserted Cities of the Heart, the performance that we see on the DVD was taken from the second night of performances, which was May 3rd, 2005, when Clapton's wearing the black shirt. And again, if you remember earlier, we mentioned that Clapton had the flu for these first 3 shows. He was finally feeling better for the final show on May 6th. So Eric had the flu at the second show where they got Deserted Cities of the Heart. I think that this song is one of my favorite performances on the DVD. It's more of a deep cut from their catalog, but the performance is completely epic. I view this song as a journey. This is an adventure. And there's just something in the drumming and the chords that are played.
Yep.
And just the galloping of the bass.
Yeah.
Makes it seem like a journey to me.
Mm.
I love the harmonics that Eric is playing on his guitar. He's playing a D chord.
Hey, Mark. It's beautiful.
Mm.
So that's not something that you hear him doing that often.
No.
And his guitar solo is extremely lyrical, but I have to say that Jack takes the cake on this song because his vocal performance is incredibly passionate. And I just love everything that he's doing in this song. There's a moment of synergy again from all the members when in the middle of the solo, there's this is what's happening. So Jack is going. So that's the same pattern, but he's just doing it in a descending fashion. And Eric is doing his iconic triplets, his trademark triplets. Eric is playing. And Ginger is doing these syncopated crash and snare at the same time. So I call that a snash. It's my own terminology. A snare and a crash at the same time, I call a snash. And it's a great sound. I think I defined that term on urbandictionary.com. I don't know if they accepted it. But
Snash.
start saying snash. When you've got to communicate to your drummer, do a snash. That's a snare and a crash at the same time. I think it sounds really great. Another great use would be to do a kick and a crash cymbal at the same time. But at that moment when Jack is doing and Clapton is doing, and then Ginger at the same time is doing these snashes, it's just Cream at possibly their finest hour. Obviously, they're not Cream from the 60s, but I think that this is a close second moment and one of the finest moments of their career. The way that the song ends highlights Jack, and Jack does his trademark. Whenever the song ends in D, Jack likes to add this F sharp note on the G string. So he'll play the D note, but he'll also add a F sharp note which makes up a D chord. And it's just a trademark thing that Jack Bruce does. He'll do it at the end of White Room. He'll do it at the end of Tales of Brave Ulysses. And it sounds really great. And Jack's vocal in the last part of the song gives me chills every time I listen to it. It's just unbelievable. I think this is my favorite performance from the DVD, but I might have to say another song that's coming up might take its place. I'm going to give this a 30 out of 10. So far, my highest score. And Brad, please.
30 out of 10. That's a Michael score.
30.
30 out of 10. Look, you highlighted so much there, Michael. It's hard to sort of go on after that. It's hard to follow Michael, Andrew, I have to say.
I'll go second from now on.
No, that's fine. That's fine. No, I love this version of the song. Everything you said there. Look, I gave it a 10 out of 10. I seem to be giving everything a 10 out of 10 or a 9 out of 10, but there's something magical about the way these nice, I don't know, for me, this song in particular, it's how they performed it on the night that we're seeing on the DVD is amazing. And 10 out of 10 for me. Andrew.
Hats down to the production team for picking where these songs are situated on the DVD, because Stormy Monday, you could be forgiven for saying that it's a solo spotlight for Clapton, because, he's obviously, the star of that number. Then we get into this song here directly after it, and it's an equal contribution by the band that both you guys have spoken about. So I won't reiterate what Michael especially has said, other than that wonderful rhythm pattern that Michael has elaborated for you guys. It's remarkable. It's just remarkable that he's and he's not just waltzing through the park. The song is ripping. The bass playing, the drumming, they're playing together. In a way that they weren't doing on the previous song. So just remarkable how a band has the ability to do that, how they can sort of sit back in the pocket when they need to and have someone else take the center or the spotlight, and then just jump in all together at the same time. It's remarkable to see that, and even more remarkable if you're a musician or a guitar player and you've been in a band to be part of that, because it's not something that happens automatically. I agree with Michael too. It's a journey. One of the highlights again of the DVD. It's a 20 out of 10 for me too. It's never a skip. And I just love the way that Clapton is just playing. If Michael can just show us again before he gets into the synopsis of his next song, if you can just do that intro again for us, Michael, I'm going to present you. I don't know if anyone in the chat really focused on it, but
the intro being the harmonic. You mean
the harmonic? Yeah, the harmonic with the D chord. So hold on, just check this out, guys.
So Clapton's playing a D bar chord, and he's just playing this harmonic on the 3rd, 5th, 7th fret.
Yep.
Sounds really great, and you don't see harmonics a lot from Clapton, so
no,
you don't hear it. So very cool to hear.
Thank you, Michael.
No problem. That's one of my favorites for sure. I would even say that this is the first song that sounds heroic, and I don't use heroic lightly. I've mentioned in the past that Clapton's performance of Old Love from 24 Nights is heroic.
Yep.
Where it feels like he's battling something. And here it feels like the band is battling something together. And like you said, it's a journey. It's an adventure. And It's triumphant. 30 out of 10. Which leads us to Born Under a Bad Sign. Born Under a Bad Sign is an Albert King cover. We're back to some cover songs. And the last time we heard Eric do Born Under a Bad Sign was on the Nothing But the Blues tour. And there's some great footage of Eric rehearsing that at the Manhattan Center in 1994 before he went on tour with Andy Newmark on drums and his then band. So that's a great version as well. And this is not an easy song to sing. I have to mention that because the riff is syncopated. And what I mean by that is it's kind of delayed. So to sing it, you just have to train your mind to not think about what you're playing on the guitar or what you're playing on bass so that you could sing it appropriately. And if you watch the versions from 1994 and since then, Eric's not really playing the riff and singing at the same time. He's kind of comping in between his vocals. But Jack is actually playing the riff and singing at the same time. So I'm not going to attempt to sing it at the same time as the riff, but the riff is... And maybe afterwards I'll play a little bit of the solo from it because it's another great solo from Clapton. But Eric gives one of the greatest blues solos on this record, on this song. And again, shows his ability to build a solo up and just keep things interesting for him and for the listeners. Jack's vocal is fantastic on this. Again, I'd like to mention Ginger Baker's ride cymbal work. He accents the ride bell a lot, and it's very tasty. And drummers, take note of what Ginger's doing here and bring it to what you're doing with your bands. I give this a 10 out of 10. Brad?
Gee, this is a good version of this song. I've always loved this song regardless, and I love hearing artists perform this song. I just love the song, but hearing Cream play it and hearing this performance of it, it's phenomenal. Clapton's playing on it is great. The whole band are sensational on this track. It just goes to show, Ginger and Jack called themselves jazz musicians, and Clapton called himself obviously a blues musician. But to be honest with you, there's a fine line between jazz and blues anyway, in my opinion. And the way that they pull this off, it just highlights how good they were as blues musicians, but playing like Cream. So they fused all this stuff together, and that's how they became this sound. To me, I gave this song a 10 out of 10. I love the playing on it. I love, you mentioned Ginger Baker's drumming on the hi-hats. On the ride. It's phenomenal. Jack Bruce's bass playing and Clapton, I get goosebumps listening to Clapton at the best of times, but yeah, his playing on this is phenomenal. So I gave it a damn good 10 out of 10, this one.
Yeah.
Andrew?
The difference between, according to Ginger Baker, a jazz musician and a blues musician is timing. And he said, that Clapton is more of a jazz musician than a blues musician because he has specifically that thing of timing. So I think that's a good point that you raised there, Brad, about, and look, and I'm just a blues guitar player and I got no timing. So, but I think I understand what they mean. So, and again, I'm going to repeat everything that my co-hosts have said, but add my own little bit. Look, I love all the versions of this song. Wheels of Fire. This is one of the standout songs on Wheels of Fire. And then, we've got Johnny Heartbreaker in the chat talking about Jimi Hendrix's version. And then we've got Albert King's version. It's jeepers, it's a great song. It's made for guitar playing, this song. And I appreciate the solos. It's a long song. It's about 7 or 8 minutes, 7 minutes long. So yeah, a great lesson for aspiring guitar players, and also old farts like me who just want to get a little bit closer to playing something. I love it. It's never a skip. Great song. Check out all the versions you can. And this is probably up there with the top 5 performances ever of the song.
Yeah, that's for sure. So I'm going to demonstrate just a little bit of this solo, or as much as I can remember, from Born Under a Bad Sign. Again, Eric is using his middle pickup, which he likes a lot, and he doesn't have his mid boost really engaged. He has it, I believe it's off. So I'm just going to turn up my volume and do as much as I can.
Wow.
Close, but not quite there. But yeah.
Sounds great, man. Sounded great.
Thank you. And there's double stops that I should have mentioned. So double stops just means that he's playing 2 notes at the same time. And double stops are something that he would use back in Cream. So at the same time, that's called a double stop. So he's connecting these phrases together with these double stops. So it's just great playing, very inspired. And this is, again, that final night, May 6th, 2005, where he and the rest of the band were completely on fire. So again, I think I gave that a 10 out of 10.
Yep.
And that takes us into the next song, which is We're Going Wrong. We're Going Wrong is another original song by Cream about Jack's failing marriage with his first wife, Janet Godfrey. And I have a very strong connection to this song. And unrelated to any relationship that I've been in, I just have a connection to it because in 2005, when this album came out, I would listen to this song on my walks home from school. And it was in the fall. And so there were leaves on the ground, and it was like a dismal day outside. And this song just hit me just like a freight train. It was the heaviest thing without it being heavy. Because the song isn't, I would consider, it's a ballad. It's a heavy ballad. And the emotion is in Jack's vocal and Ginger's drumming. And Ginger is using mallets instead of drumsticks. And he's playing his tom-toms in this incredible pattern. And again, the sound that Mick Guzowski, the mixer, achieved is fantastic. These drums are thundering. And Jack gives one of the finest vocal performances on this DVD. And I'm going to have to say it's probably my favorite performance of the whole concert. and Clapton's solo is completely lyrical. This is, again, a story. And Clapton shows that he's a guitar hero. He shows us that he can tell a story with his guitar and perfectly complement Jack's lyrics and Jack's vocals. And this performance is haunting to me. And it's phenomenal. And I wish that there was better recordings of this from the 60s, because there are some audio issues, I would say, with the studio recording in the vocals. I think that they didn't record it as best as they could. There was actually some popping, some plosives on the vocals. So maybe Jack was too close to the microphone, or they weren't using a pop filter over the microphone in the studio version. But we got a fantastic version on this DVD, on the 2005 reunion. I'm going to give this 100 out of 10. Definitive version, and better than the 1968 version from the Goodbye concert. I think this is definitive. We're going wrong. Brad?
We're going wrong. Yeah, Michael, how do I follow that? It's I was still thinking about your story with the leaves, and anyway. So yeah, I think this is a remarkable version of this song. I'm not sure it's the definitive one for me. I still love the farewell concert one as well, but sonically this one sounds much better. Just obviously because of the era that it was recorded, as opposed to in the 60s, the limited way they could record things back in those days. But sonically, it's amazing. Clapton's playing on it is amazing. The whole band, they're playing phenomenal on it. I gave it a 10 out of 10. I don't want to touch on all the things that you've spoken about already, but yeah, Clapton is God. Clapton is good. Clapton is God.
Mm-hmm.
It is a remarkable version, and it could be the definitive version. I'm going to go back and sort of A/B it with the farewell concert one as well, I think. But for me, it's an amazing version of the song regardless, and keen to hear what Andrew has to say.
Wow. One of the great things, guys, about being a co-host and doing these rankings is every now and again you get a surprise and you get a shock. And this is one of those moments where you have to be honest and upfront with what's going through your minds, because we always try to offer our honest opinions and interpretations. And I've never been a fan of this song, guys. And after hearing Michael's presentation and discussion, I've missed something on this track, and I'm looking at Mark, who's a very good friend of the channel, saying it's a great track as well, and listening to Brad's interpretation by AB in it, saying that it could be a definite. I've missed something clearly on this track, and I'm going to stick my hand up and admit that. So I am going to go and renegotiate this, and I'll report back to you guys when we get together, because I've just given this barely an 8 out of 10. And because I hold my co-host's opinion so close to my heart, because they are informed fans, honest to God, I will go back and renegotiate this, because I've missed something. And if I've missed something, I need to find and discover it, because that's just who we are as music and Clapton and blues and cream nuts. So I stick my hand up and admit that. I'll get back to you guys. 8 out of 10.
Yeah. This isn't a hooky song. There's no riffs or anything like that. This is, again, a journey. This is another type of adventure. It has an ominous feel to it.
Wow.
It's dark. And it's in a minor key too, so that also.
I need to go and I need to check this out. I need to check this out. Thank you, Michael, for. And this is one of the great things about, because we're not know-it-alls, guys, in the chat. You know, we're just three cats getting together, hanging out, talking about stuff that we love. So you know, we get blown away too by what we all bring to this show. So before I hand it back to you, Michael, I just want to do a quick shout out. He may watch the show. He watches a lot of replays. A very, very dear friend of ours who's going through treatment for cancer at the moment. Warren, who's based in Australia. So he's a very dear friend of the channel. So we wish you, brother, if you've got this far, we wish you all the best. And we're all keeping in touch and we're all sharing information about you. We all want to hear what's happening. So God bless and keep us in the loop. And we look forward to catching up with you in the chat. And I do get emails from him too. So, you know, keep safe, brother.
Yeah. Reach out, let Andrew know how you're going. And yeah, it'd be great to, you know, hear some updates and hopefully you're doing really well, buddy.
Yeah.
The prayers and thoughts are with you.
Yeah. Something else on We're Going Wrong that's very interesting is Jack's choice of vocal notes. And this is something I think he did back in the 60s as well. It's just very interesting to me. He sings these notes, which is this note, this F note, is very interesting over these chord changes. So they're going from B minor, they're going from A minor to B minor to C. And Jack is singing an F over this C chord, and it sounds just very interesting. It sounds like it's not supposed to be there, but he's singing it as if it is intended to be there. So it's intentional. And again, it just doesn't sound like it should belong there, but that's his choice. And it's just a very interesting thing musically to hear. So again, that sounds like...
Wow.
So normally a listener would expect it to go. That sounds more natural. And this gives it that tension. And every time I hear it, I'm like, why did he do that? But that's just what he wanted to happen. I know that he's not hitting that note by accident. It's definitely intentional. So when they reach the chorus in that song, he's hitting that F note over this C chord. And it's just very interesting to me. So check that out next time you listen to it. I found out today. Instead of I've found out today. That sounds more natural. Today. That's what Jack decides to do. So he's brilliant for that decision. And it's next level to me. Next level songwriting, next level performance. So I think I gave this a 10 out of 10 or 30 out of 10. Yeah, I gave it 30 out of 10. Or 50? What did I give?
It was 100. I thought you said
100? 100, okay. Yeah, I already forgot.
Just back in the chat a little bit earlier, Michael, I just noticed someone asked what amp you're playing through.
Sure. Right now I'm using a Laney Hardcore Max 30 watt amp. And I got this amp in maybe 1996, 1997.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm mainly using a Line 6 Pod XT that is simulating a Plexi 45. And I've got a lot of Hall reverb on.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's being amplified by the Laney. So I think we're really hearing the Line 6 Pod XT.
Right, okay.
Because I've got the amp on the clean channel. You're not really hearing this amp. I think it's just taking the Pod XT very well.
Yep. So there you go, guys. That's how you get Michael's tone.
Yeah. And it's getting a decent Cream 2005 reunion tone. The dissonance, right? Dissonance is a word that I was looking for. Exactly. So it's an E minor with a C sharp. I'm sorry, with a C in it. An E minor with a C in it. A lot of dissonance, and that ties back into the idea behind the song, the meaning behind the song, which was Jack's failing marriage with his then wife, Janet Godfrey. So this might be why he included those dissonant notes to portray that idea, that theme. Pod XT, do you have your floorboard too? I borrow my friend's Line 6 Pod XT Live, which is a floorboard. It's great. This is good for a studio, the Line 6 Pod XT, which looks like a kidney bean. I'm not going to hold it up now because it's on a short cable. But the floor pod is great too. I've used that for a lot of gigs. It's still great these days. Yeah. And what I'm using is from 2005. Still reliable. Okay, so that closes out We're Going Wrong. And now we entered the land of Crossroads. And I'm interested to hear your guys' opinions on this version as well. So this version of Crossroads was taken from the final night, which was May 6th, 2005, where Clapton's wearing the light blue shirt. And Clapton starts off the song in a way similar to the way that he plays it on his solo tours. And the arrangement is kind of true to the way that Cream did it, with the two guitar solos. Eric has definitely made improvements in his vocals. Like I said, his voice has developed a lot over the years, and he is more confident than ever, I would say. Great soloing from Eric on this, great bass playing from Jack. I love Ginger's drum fills into each of the guitar solos. Very thundering tom fills that he does. At one point, the camera shows Brian May in the audience. There were a lot of celebrities in the audience for these shows, including Paul McCartney and Ringo Starr, Sheryl Crow, Steve Winwood, I think Mick Taylor, and Ron Wood from the Stones. Who else? I think I mentioned Roger Waters. And like I said, Brian May is featured in the video, and you can see him smiling, enjoying the band playing. And Eric soloing on this has some fire to it. It does have some fire, and it's very lyrical. It's not the same as the version from Wheels of Fire, which are considered some of the greatest live guitar solos of all time. But these two solos from Crossroads are really fantastic, and the audience was in for a treat that night because his playing had a certain fire to it. And at the end of the performance, Jack Bruce says, "Eric Clapton," just like Jack says in the performance from Wheels of Fire, which was done at Winterland on March 10th, 1968. So it's a fantastic version of Crossroads. And this is, again, a cover of Robert Johnson. And Robert Johnson was a huge influence on Clapton. And this was what brought Robert Johnson into households everywhere. And this was something that Cream was good at reviving the blues. And they were huge in the blues revivalist movement of the late 60s. And again, in the 2000s, reviving these blues songs and bringing these blues artists into American and worldwide homes. I didn't know about these artists until Cream. So thank you, Cream. Thank you, Eric, for reworking these songs and popularizing them. And also getting these blues musicians, these poor blues musicians, royalties. So he gave them a lot of continued success or revived success. I'm going to give this performance of Crossroads a 30 out of 10. Not better than the Winterland version, but still excellent. Brad?
I've always had a love-hate relationship with this song for some reason, Crossroads. I love it. I always go back to the Cream version live. Is it Winterland? Did you say
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So I always go back to that version because I love how Clapton mixes his major and minor pentatonics in that, and I love his vocal in that song. I love the way he does that. I was not sure when I saw that they put Crossroads on the DVD until I watched it, what to expect. I wasn't sure. I was like, I don't know what we're in for here. But I'm really glad that they did it, and I'm glad they performed it the way they did. In my opinion, it's not as good as they did it at Winterland, but it's taken on a new direction anyway. So they've made it more appropriate to the time at 2005, and they've basically given it a bit of a let's just say a new coat of paint. They've done something different to it a little bit, which has been fantastic. And even though it's a Robert Johnson song, you know, they kind of made it their own, if that makes sense, back in the 60s. So to actually hear them sort of reinvent it a little bit was refreshing, I thought. And I still get excited listening to them play it. So my love-hate relationship with it is more love than hate, but there's certain versions of it that I've heard Clapton do in the past in his solo career, and other artists doing it that I can't stand because I think they're missing the point with the song. They're missing it big time. But I'm really glad that they performed it. They gave it that little bit of a new coat of paint, and they gave it. Look, I have to give it a 20 out of 10, and I love the performance. The band are on fire. They're, you know, equally three parts there. You can hear the three parts of the Cream in the performance. Clapton's vocal, I mean, you know, we've touched on this a fair few times now. He's a powerhouse blues singer now.
Yeah.
So, you know, I give it a 20 out of 10. I'm very interested to see what Andrew has to say.
Thank you, Michael, for doing the shout out to Eric Clapton. That's one thing that we do on this show often. We do celebrate the fact that Clapton and the Rolling Stones, for example, are gateway artists. If one thing, you know, they're responsible for myself and for Brad and for you for going back to check out all these guys. So they were doing it in the 60s with Young Cats. They're doing it in the 1990s, and they're doing it in the 2000s, and they'll continue to do it for as long as, you know, people are listening to music. So Eric Clapton will always get a big shout out and a lot of kudos from us here in the show that we do, because he never hid that right from the word go. These guys in particular, you know, the Stones, they always said, go and check out Howlin' Wolf, go and listen to Robert Johnson, you know, right from the word go. So they are, because of that, you know, respected by myself. Look, guys, I'm going to tell you one thing. I've got a couple of theories going on here. The live version we know is famous. It's a famous song. Everyone who just even talks about Cream will know that song and Sunshine.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. You know, they won't know anything else. They won't even know what's on this album here. They won't even know the name of Disraeli Gears, but they'll know those two songs. And that's great because they deserve to be known. That's how good they are. But I reckon Cream, when they came to arrange this song, I reckon they decided that we were going to be completely different from the version that we gave. Every other song that we've done, we're going to keep it tight and keep some kind of similarity there. But I think what we're going to do with this version of Crossroads is we're going to make it completely different. It's another version of Crossroads.
Yeah.
Then they could have pulled out that 68 version, no problem. I know for a fact, because look at every other song and look at other songs that they've done on YouTube from the North American tour as well. They could have done it. And Clapton has done versions of this on his solo career, rocking. But they decided that they were going to do something different. So for that, and I've had this argument with a lot of Cream and Clapton nuts over the years, and I'm going to stand by it, and I'll be happy to see what you guys think about my theory. So because of that, I'm going to give it a 20 out of 10, because they wanted to make it sound completely different than the famous version. But it stands on those 20 points by itself. Well-deserved 20 points. Never a skip.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. His guitar solos are fantastic. And like I said, they're very lyrical. And he's playing in the higher register in the first solo. In the 1968 Wheels of Fire version from Winterland, Clapton goes up to the higher register on the neck in the second solo, but he's giving the audience that on the first solo. So it's very cool. And I'm going to demonstrate that as best as I can right now. So he starts around the 12th position. So he's using his middle pickup, which he loves, middle pickup. And I'm not going to engage any mid boost. I'm going to leave it off right now. So he's jumping all the way up to that early in the song. So I don't think the audience was ready for that. And it's really exciting. And again, very lyrical, very inventive playing from Eric. And he also does a bend up here. He goes, I'm going to do it with my ring finger. That's his famous bend. But he does it with his index finger. I don't have the strength sitting down to do this. See what I mean? I don't have the strength to do it with my index finger. So that's why I did it with my ring finger. So I had to change my positioning. But Eric had the strength to do it with his index finger when he's all the way up here. So, yeah. Very interesting. So check that out when you're watching.
Awesome. Awesome, Michael. That's the kind of stuff we love here on this show. That's the deep diving we do here, baby. You get it. You want that deep diving dirt stuff, you're going to get it on this show.
Right. So something that he didn't do at these shows was bend with his index finger and add vibrato in the way that he would in the 60s. Like in that video where he's playing the Fool and he goes, when he's doing like that stuff. Where he's using his index finger to add vibrato. He wasn't doing that really at these Cream reunion shows. So his technique has changed or had changed over 37 years, but he was incorporating a couple of techniques that he was using then.
Awesome. Thanks, Chris, for joining us all the way from the UK. I just want to add another little piece onto what Brad said about other artists doing versions of this song. please don't hate me, guys. I'm just offering an opinion, okay? So I'm not making any other judgment on this guitar player. But John Mayall's version of Crossroads for me is a disappointment. It's a I don't know what John Mayall was trying to do with his version of Crossroads, but I think he should have just done a cover version of it, and he would have got more. I think more of a appreciative feedback from guitar players than just try and do something else with it. That's just I just thought of that when you were making your comment, Brad, earlier about other versions of the song. So sorry for throwing that in here.
Oh. And look, I mean, that's the beauty of doing these shows. We talk about these things, and other people performing the songs, and whether they get it right or not is something that, it's just our opinion. Someone might love that, Andrew. They might hate you for it now, but we're just offering our opinion. So
and I get what John Mayall was trying to do. Obviously, make his version of it, but it's I think he could have done a better job. That's all I'm saying. It's he's a guitar player. Cheapers, he should have made it into a guitar song.
There's a version that John Mayer did with Clapton on Good Morning America, and it was done in Central Park a couple of years ago.
Yes.
And I found out about it, I think, later that day, and I said, darn, I wish I knew. I would have gone and said, sorry, work, I can't come in. I got to go see Clapton and John Mayer perform at 7 a.m. Could you imagine singing Crossroads at 7 a.m.?
No.
What time do you have to wake? What time do you have to wake up to sing that well? And it's a pretty good performance. And at that point, I think they were playing their black Strats, but they were Crossroads Strats, and they had the sun painted on them, the Crossroads Antigua logo on them.
Yep.
So yeah, John and Eric were playing together. I think that was 2007. I think. Was it 2007? I don't know. But yeah, that's a good performance of Crossroads. I think it's better than John's studio version of Crossroads.
Yeah.
But John, again, was just trying to adapt the song to his audience, maybe. As other people have commented, that he's trying to appeal to the 13-year-old audience because he has a younger fan base. And so he's being a messenger in the same way that Clapton was a messenger for us.
Yep.
So he's keeping the blues alive in the same way that Joe Bonamassa is now introducing blues to his audience. So we thank all of these messengers. So I think that finishes our discussion on Crossroads and leads us into White Room. Here's a heavy hit, a big hit from Cream. And there's a lot of expectation with this song because this had a lot of radio play. This is a staple in Cream's catalog. And it's a great performance by all. It's a little bit different from what we're used to. And I would say that it's interesting because there's a trade-off in the vocals. On the original version, Eric would harmonize with Jack on the head, or what we call the motif of the song, which is the part in 5/4 time signature, which is that's the motif of the song. And Eric and Jack harmonize over that. They're not doing that on this version. So that's already an instant change. And Jack has the lead vocal on this song. And what happens, which is interesting, they must have done this to keep it interesting for themselves, is that Jack sings the verse and then Eric sings the chorus. So there's a nice trade-off. And the version that they chose from the DVD, or for the DVD, was from the second night, which was May 3rd, 2005, where Eric's wearing the black shirt. And again, Eric had the flu at the show, and he's singing amazingly with the flu. If I had the flu and had to sing like that, or if I could sing like that with the flu, that would be a feat. But props to Clapton for performing that well. His voice is really something else on this song. And Jack's vocal on this is really great. And he adds variations, vocal variations to this, where he'll sing, "When I walked out," instead of "When I walked out." So check out that vocal variation or substitution, whatever you'd like to call it, that Jack does. And that's something that Eric had done with White Room in the 90s. Eric had put these vocal variations or substitutions on White Room on 24 Nights and other performances. So it's good to see that they're playing around with the song and they're having fun with it and making changes to suit them now. So maybe there was a reason they didn't want to include the vocals, the harmony vocals, and the other variations that they've made. I have to mention how strong Ginger Baker's playing is on this. He is solid as a rock. And again, the sound of the drums is thundering. His toms sound fantastic. And that beat that he plays, that 5/4 beat over the motif that I just played there, that's a part that Ginger wrote, and he's very proud of. And he doesn't get enough credit for that. If you're in a car or if you're just listening to this song, you have to air drum this. It's so awesome. It's iconic. And it's just a great performance of this song. I have to note that Eric doesn't step on his wah-wah pedal for the guitar solo. And that may have upset a lot of Clapton fans or a lot of Cream fans, but I guess Eric just wasn't feeling it that night. He didn't want to step on the wah-wah pedal, but he still gave a fantastic guitar solo. And he does this one bend that just kind of makes the listener feel like they're at the 1968 Goodbye show that they did, also at the Royal Albert Hall. Clapton can just do a bend or hit a note, and it just takes you back to a time and a place. Even if you weren't born then, it just takes you back to this mood and that atmosphere. And I think it's when he goes, I think he's using the second pickup combination. So that combines the bridge pickup and the middle pickup. And something that Eric does in this solo is he's switching pickups a lot. He'll go from this second position to the neck pickup, and then he'll go all the way back, or he'll go to the bridge pickup. So he just wants a texture change for some reason, and that's what he does. And that's something that David Gilmour does as well when he's soloing. And it's just something that guitarists should pay attention to. If you're trying to create a different feel or a different texture, you've got a couple of pickups. If you have a humbucker guitar, you've got two pickups that you can switch between, and you can switch your tone. So this is an important lesson for guitarists. So pay attention to what Clapton's doing in the solo for White Room and see why he's using certain pickup combinations. And I'm going to have to give this a 10 out of 10 on White Room. Brad?
Well, thanks for that in-depth look into White Room, Michael. That's great. I agree with you. It's a 10 out of 10 from me as well. I have to say I was expecting something a little bit different with this song when I saw it on the album, like the DVD cover. I thought, oh, cool, they're going to be playing it like they used to play it, which there were similarities, but they put a new fresh coat of paint on it, probably more suited to how they were rehearsing and how it sounded at rehearsals, and they kept it that way they eliminated that vocal harmony like at the start, which you mentioned. Maybe they tried that, maybe it didn't work, maybe they just decided, hey, let's just let the music talk, and hopefully the crowd might sing that, they were hoping maybe something like that might happen. So whatever way they did it, it's still phenomenal, and I'm glad that we got that. I have to give it a 10 out of 10, like I said, and they all sound phenomenal. Ginger is thunderous on the bass in this track. He's really, it's surprising we're at the tail end of the performance. I'm sure this was in the tail end of the set list, and they're still playing at this intensity for their age. It's amazing. Jack Bruce and Eric Clapton are equally as amazing on this track as well. So yeah, definitely a 10 out of 10 from me. And it's always been one of my favorite Cream songs as well. I've performed this song in the past in cover band, the trio, and it always just feels great to play this song. So to hear Cream actually performing it again was sensational. And again, I got goosebumps listening to it for the first time, and watching it all this week again, same thing. Every time this came on, I found myself cranking it and just getting into it. Andrew.
Yeah, a couple of things on this song. Yeah, the intro harmonies not coming through was very interesting, because what you have to remember, guys, is we've been listening to probably the 24 Nights version for 20 years, which is a remarkable version.
Yeah.
And thanks to Michael showing me how to do it. I'll tag at the end of this video the 24 Nights shows that we've done on this channel discussing that DVD. So it's an interesting version. I'm going to stand by my theory about Crossroads here. I dig what Michael's saying about maybe Clapton not feeling it, so didn't want to step on the wah. But I'm going to stick by my theory that they wanted to make this a little bit different from their famous versions, So yeah, I won't play the wah. We'll see how it goes. And it's an interesting version. Not a defining or a definitive version. I'm going to give it 9 out of 10 because it's just missing. It's missing some of those crucial things, I think. And look, I'm not asking guys for complete reproductions. I'm not asking for that. I'm not asking for forgeries. I'm not saying that, but yeah, it just doesn't hit me like other versions do. So I've got to be true to the ranking gods and give it 9 out of 10.
Yeah. I want to quickly mention Jack Bruce's bass playing on this. His bass part on the original is presented here as well, and it's again an iconic bass part. The it's just iconic. It's so great. And Jack plays it perfectly. And during the guitar solo, Jack's playing on bass is also fantastic.
Yep.
He'll go, check out what he's doing. The rhythms that he's playing on bass and his choice of notes is perfect over what Clapton's doing in the solo. So definitely check that out next time you listen to or watch the DVD. I don't know if we have time for me to play some of the solo from White Room, or if we want to continue on.
Let's go for it.
Go for it? Okay.
Yeah.
So they go from, again, the motif, which is this. I'll just play it. go. Switch pick up.
Ow.
Forgot a little bit of it, but that's all right. And again, Jack Bruce will hit this. He'll hit the D with the F sharp, a D note and an F at the same time. Trademark Jack Bruce.
Ow.
Yeah. So it's still a great solo from Clapton. We wish that there was wah. That's what he wanted, and it's a great solo. I think it's a great version. I don't think it's the definitive version, but it's definitely a good one. Never a skip.
Yeah.
Okay. The next song is Toad. Toad is a showcase for Ginger Baker, and he would actually show up to the rehearsals. And again, Cream would rehearse for a month before these shows, which is really the longest that they've ever rehearsed, because back in the day they were very freeform, very loose, and they would just play from the hip. But there was a lot of pressure for these shows, and they had a lot to live up to. And so they rehearsed for a month before the reunion. And Ginger would actually show up to rehearsal first. He would show up hours before Jack and Eric. And he was there to practice Toad and practice the other songs in the set. And you tell that his rehearsal paid off, because he's extremely confident on Toad, and he connects a lot of great rhythms together. He's completely consistent, and he just shows the world that he is still at the top of his game. He is still one of the best drummers in the world, and he's a pioneer. And his solo is extremely interesting. He has great use of flams and ostinato beats, where he'll play a rhythm while playing another rhythm. And so that would be considered, I guess, a polyrhythm. But his playing on this track is phenomenal. And his solo from each night of the reunion was very good. But this one from May 5th, the third night, made it to DVD. And besides Ginger's fantastic playing on this track, Jack and Eric have a little feature in the beginning of the song when there's actually music besides drums playing. And Eric even gets some feedback from his amplifier. He walks over to his amplifier and he's playing with his pickup selector, and he's got his guitar on full volume. So it's nice to see them experimenting with feedback, just as they would do in the 60s. I'm going to have to give this a 10 out of 10. It's not the definitive version of Toad, but it is another great version for drummers to study for years to come. So thank you, Ginger, and thank you, Cream. 10 out of 10, Toad. Brad?
Well, for me, it was great that they included this into the performance. I think, we needed to definitely have this in there. I mean, Ginger Baker was such a big part of Cream. His playing in general brought a flavor to the music and the way they performed. But the reason I say I'm glad they included this is it gives Ginger a bit of a highlight, so that we get the privilege, I guess, to see where he's at. Even at his age, he can still pull off those remarkable chops that he did. And it was a fantastic performance that they captured on the DVD. And, I guess watching it, it gave me goosebumps. I'm not, I love a good drum solo. I'm not one that will sit there and watch them over and over and over again, though. but for me, it was phenomenal. And I have to give it a 10 out of 10. It was one of those moments that you're sitting there going, wow, I'm watching, Ginger Baker at his age performing a drum solo and still playing amazingly. His beats, his rhythms, he's got a very unique style, and it's highlighted in this solo, as you can see. So 10 out of 10. And I feel we are all extremely, should feel grateful and blessed that we got to see this on DVD.
Yeah.
He's, without a doubt, he's one of those guys that influenced so many drummers to come. He was a game changer for drummers in general, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Andrew.
Yeah, you're right. And, on that making of Disraeli Gears, they're interviewing some cat, some reporter, can't remember, from Rolling Stone. And then they're talking about, Ginger's drumming, and he's playing those tom-toms in between Diana Ross and the Supremes, and no one was doing that back then. So I'm not a drummer. I've spoken to a lot of drummers, and the best way I can describe what drummers have told me about this performance over the last 10 years when I've met a few, how as guitar players we might go and check out 24 Nights and see what Clapton's doing on Pretending or something like that, or go and watch Live Without a Net and watch Eddie Van Halen playing the guitar solo. Drummers go and watch that. They go and watch that version. I'm not a dude that loves drum solos either. I appreciate what they're doing in the context of the concert and the DVD, because it's about that whole experience, and this is what they were doing when they were touring back together in Cream. Look, it's not a skip. Sometimes on the DVD it might be, but when I'm playing the CD, I play it right through. It's a 9 out of 10 for me. I'm glad that Michael mentioned the feedback, because again, there's some things that the DVD gives you that you don't pick up on the recording. So maybe I should go back and consider my notes here and maybe say I should watch the DVD for those little things that happen. But yeah, if anyone in the chat is a drummer or had experience drumming, is this piece up there with Eruption for you guys as drummers? Anyone who's watching the replay, what is Toad for you as a drummer? Is it a mandatory piece of music that you have to study?
Right. Great comparison. Yeah. I know that Neil Peart of Rush played Toad at like his high school performance. And he used to play it with his, his starting cover bands when he was just starting out. So that's a piece that people work up to. That's a show.
Wow. Yeah.
And
he was playing that when he was 13.
Yeah. Yeah. It's an iconic piece, and a lot of drummers need to hear that. It's a must listen.
Yep.
Yeah. And that brings us to our final track on the DVD, which is Sunshine of Your Love, which is a very expected choice for a closing song, probably their biggest hit, and their greatest riff. It's just such a good riff, that song. And
yeah, baby.
This performance was taken from the final night. Actually got two versions of this. One from the second night on May 3rd, and one from the final night on May 6th. And I think the main one on the DVD is from May 6th. I have to rewatch the DVD. I've been watching it on YouTube, so I'm not sure which is the alternate version and which is the main version. So thank you to the Shrimp King on YouTube for uploading all these videos. Yeah, we've got to shout out people on YouTube for sharing content, because they make this stuff available to us. And for people who don't own the DVD or people who can't afford the DVD. So thank you, YouTube, and thank you, people who share this information and this content. in one of the versions of Sunshine, Jack forgets that it's Eric's turn to sing a line, like, I'll soon be with you, my love. And Eric walks up to the microphone for the next line of the song, and it's not Eric's turn to sing. That's Jack's part to sing over the G section, over the B section of the song. B from a structure point. The B section is the B. That's the B section of the song. And that section is supposed to be sung by Jack. And there's a miscommunication between them, and it's pretty funny. And you see Jack smiling at Eric. And I think they have a similar issue later on in the song as well, where they're just unsure of who should be singing where. But otherwise, it's a really great performance. And Clapton's solo is fantastic, and he goes for 2 times around instead of one solo. He goes for 2 solos. Ginger's drumming on this song is, again, phenomenal. And something that's so iconic about his drum part is that he's not playing on the 2 and the 4. He's playing on the 1 and the 3 of the measure. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that made Ginger a game changer. The way that he breaks this way, very ominous and iconic. And he's adding some snare ghost notes. So it's kind of when your stick hits the snare drum in like a sympathetic way. It's just like ghosting. I can't really describe what a drumstick ghosting sounds like. It's just when the stick kind of naturally vibrates very quickly instead of a full hit. It's kind of letting the stick hit and have its natural bounce. So listen to what Ginger is doing on the drums, because it's really great. And at the end of the song, they jam in A. So after the chorus, then they jam in the key of A. And then eventually they play the riff of the song, which is, but they play it modulated to A. Since they're jamming in A at the end of the song, they do something like, they play the riff in A. So they've modulated from D to A. And in one, what's up? What was that? Did you say something? So no. They go from, so they land on a C, and then they resolve by going to the tonic note, which would be an A. And it's just a great way in this incredible reunion, and they end as triumphantly as they started, and it's just fantastic. And I'm so glad that they were able to do that while they were healthy and in decent shape, and we got some really great performances from this DVD.
Yeah.
Thank you to the amazing production team and mixing these tracks so fantastically. And it was mastered by Bob Ludwig, who is a mastering legend, who has mastered so many records. You probably own, every record you own is probably mastered by Bob Ludwig. So check him out too. So we got to thank our audio people, our video people as well, because this is a really
Yep.
great
Yep.
document for us.
Yep.
And we didn't have anything like this from Cream in the past. Any videos of Cream were from some one-off live performances or their goodbye concert, which was filmed horribly. So thank
Totally.
you for presenting it this way. I'm going to give this version of Sunshine a 10 out of 10. Brad?
Yeah, I really like how you've highlighted that. You know, the way that we've had this presented to us after all these years, because we never really had anything to go by for Cream that was quality in the sense of video and audio together. You know, every performance of Cream that's out there is chopped up. It's I mean, as much as I would love to see this sort of quality from the 60s, at least we managed to capture it 37 years later. So you know, Sunshine of Your Love, it's one of those songs for me that I've heard cover bands destroy this song. I've heard other people perform it, but to hear the original guys actually perform it is where it's at for me. So they can do it any way they like, and I'm going to enjoy it. So I really enjoyed the playing on this. It was a fun version of it. The way that they didn't really know who was going to sing what, I got a lot of humor out of that, actually. I found that even though they'd rehearsed probably tirelessly, I mean, Clapton's performed this song on his own that many times that he's used to singing it all. Jack Bruce is probably the same. So they were like, who sings this part? It still found a lot of humor in that, whether that was intentional or not. I don't think it would have been, but very fun version of the song. I gave it a 10 out of 10. Obviously, I'm a Clapton Cream nut, so this whole DVD, to analyze it this way, was a lot of fun, and thanks for picking it, guys. 10 out of 10, and I'll give it to Andrew to hear his analysis of this track.
Yeah, I was going to mention what you said there, bro, about the fact that they've performed these songs in their various bands, you know, so many times. So, you know, the fact that they recorded it and looked at each other and cocked it up a couple of times just goes to prove, you know, that they're human after all, you know, and they've kept it in, you know, and it's good spotting, you know, it's good spotting to pick that up and, you know, to giggle along with them and see that little wink, you know, that they give, because that's, again, you know, one of the great things about the DVD that you don't pick up on the audio version. So, you know, I have to echo with Michael and Brad here. You know, this is a testament that we had, and, you know, they could have done a lot better on the farewell had the camera people decided not to pretend to be on LSD. Maybe they were on LSD. I don't know. But you know, we've discussed this before. It's shocking. It's shocking footage. But you know, we do watch it. I watch it once a year. You know, just to hope that all of a sudden we're just going to get somehow this magical quality. But this Cream reunion DVD makes up for it in truckloads. Sunshine of Your Love is a song that's burnt into into my mind. It's burnt.
Yeah.
You know, I can remember riffs. I can remember Sweet Judy Blue Eyes by listening to that on the radio. I must have been about 3 or 4. Da 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 da. Da, 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 da. And also this, so I remember, I don't know how old I was, but this is a riff that I remember listening to, you know, when I was, you know, like a kid, an infant, you know, a toddler. So, and then you always hear this song, and I'll be honest, you know, when I was a young cat, you know, and I heard this, and I was trying to discover cool modern music. And I remember, you know, jumping on the bandwagon with some of my friends saying, you know, this old shit, you know. And then a couple of years later, rediscovering it and hearing it again with a different set of ears and appreciating it for for what it is. I love all the versions of this song that Clapton's done. I love it. I just, you know, it's a fun song. It's a song, you know, that he ends a lot of his gigs with. It's like the Rolling Stones with Brown Sugar, isn't it? You know, they're always going to play it. And, you know, if it's not this, it'll be Cocaine. And that's okay, you know. This song stands alone by itself because of the DVD. And because of that, I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10. Before I hand it over to my co-hosts, and I want to echo a lot of what the guys have been saying in the chat. You know, Brad and I have the easy part of these shows. You know, we're sitting here and we've been marveled just as much as you guys in the chat by Michael's contribution to our shows, not only with his guitar playing, but with his wealth of information that he's giving to us free of charge. Yeah, you know, he's giving us his time. He's giving us the technical terms that guitar players want to be part of and hear and understand, because we all want to pick up a bit of theory. We all want to hear those technical terms. We should be anyway, you know, and if we can contribute to being part of that process with our shows, that's even better, because I'm going to go away and I'm going to listen to a couple of these songs that Michael has given me something to think about. And Brad and I talk about this a few times when we do shows with Simon. You know, we go away and we renegotiate these songs that are part of our lives, and we listen to them again. So, Michael, we're enthralled, and you know, in a debt of gratitude to what you are giving our show with these specials. So, thank you, brother. I you know, personally, I appreciate it. If I could give you a cuddle, I would.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you for having me on these shows. I love talking about Clapton. I love talking about Cream, and any information that I have or any playing that I can demonstrate, I'm always happy to do, because it just continues and shares the love and the magic that they gave us. So,
yeah.
Thank you.
And you know, again, you know, music is our lives. You know, we've said it before, and we'll continue to say it. Yeah, we've got other things we've got to do. We've got to feed, you know, the family. We've got to pay bills, and you know, we've got to go and do all these other things. But you know, without, you know, playing music, listening about music, talking about music, you know, I just couldn't imagine it. Yeah. Arvin's asked maybe we should look at maybe doing this album with Michael next month. So Brad and I will talk to Michael, and we'll organize something. We'll get Michael on for another show next month. Don't worry about that, guys. Well, next month is only a couple of days away. So but you know, we'll work things out with Michael. We'd like to get Michael on for another Clapton special. I love these Clapton shows that we do, Michael, and obviously, you know, it comes down to time and resources, but we'll talk about that, and we'll present something for the people who subscribe to our social media accounts. We'll be doing something soon.
Yeah, it's very exciting. Looking forward to it.
So everyone in the chat saying, yeah, you know, Brian Spalding, who's a great player himself. We've done a couple of specials with Brian. So Johnny, you know, great playing. Nelson.
Thank you.
Mark Tanner, you know, you know, we appreciate the feedback, guys, because we're all Clapton fans, we're all blues fans, and so Brad, you got anything you want to add to this, brother?
Yeah, well, look, I've really enjoyed sitting back and hearing all your little bits and pieces, Michael, and all your playing, and it's certainly inspirational, mate. So thank you. And, you know, Clapton's such a big part of, my upbringing and listening to music as well. So there's little bits and pieces that I'll go and have a listen to again as well because of things that you've highlighted in your demonstrations and that. So thank you. And thanks everyone in the chat for sticking around and listening to 3 hours of three dudes that just love Clapton. That's probably something that we're all grateful and appreciative for as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So Brad and I are on tomorrow with the Rock Professor. We're going to be talking about Jimi Hendrix's compilation blues album that came out in '95, and that's going to be interesting. So if you guys want to join us for that, that'll be great. There's Michael there on Instagram. Easy, I happen to have. Please follow him there and you'll keep updated with everything he does over there, and any events or bits and pieces that we do with Michael here on this show, he'll keep you up to date. Michael, will you come back for some more Clapton specials with us, please?
Oh, let me think about that.
Oh, okay.
Of course. Well, if I say no, then kill me.
Oh, look, yeah, we are blessed and privileged, and we thank you for that. Yeah. This is something, that I would have loved to have done when I was a young cat. I would have bought you guys lunch just to hear what you guys had. Come, yeah, I would have been
New York.
just to hear what what people were thinking about this album. What do you think about this album, Brad? What do you think about this album, Michael?
Right.
No, it sucks. Okay,
Right.
why?
People leave one comment on YouTube, but that's not a conversation.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So that gets us to the next point, of our presentation here. We're the British Electric Blues Show. We're blues nuts, electric blues nuts. We love talking about electric blues, and we're not experts. If you guys have any questions for Michael, if you got this far, and Brad, please leave them in the comments. They will answer them. They will. And if we get something wrong or we aren't as in depth as you think we should be, we do a pretty good job. But be a little bit kind if we don't get specifics right. Be a little bit kind.
We're all learning from each other.
Yeah. Be a little bit kind and just gently nudge us, and if we've got something wrong, because you got to remember too, we've been doing these shows for a while, and sometimes when you think something, it doesn't come out. Sometimes, so, and we're all guilty of that. We might. You might get a year wrong or something wrong, so don't hold us to those little quirks too that we all do, Yeah,
these are live shows, and we're not sitting here with our encyclopedias in front of us and everything like that. We're just going from the top of our heads what we remember and what we've learned from each other and whatnot, and what we've learned from other channels and all sorts of things. So what I'm saying is if we get something that you don't think is right, put a note in the comment, a nice note. Don't be naughty. Don't be nasty. And we'll have a look at it and we'll address it. But I think we do a pretty damn good job in general.
So next Saturday, New Zealand and Australia time, Brad and I are going to go live and talk about Van Halen. We should have been doing the ranking the tracks for Van Halen 1, but the Rev Kurt can't make that, so we're not going to do the ranking of the Van Halen 1 album without him. He's done all the hard work, so we'll do that the following week. But Brad and I will. Brad's working on something, so sub to us. He's got something cooking that might be really, really, really cool. So cross fingers, everybody, that Brad pulls this off. I won't let the cat out of the bag. And we'll be talking to Michael because we've got some other things going there too, as I said at the top of the show, that we're working out with Godfrey as well. So we're trying to get something going there, and time zones and all that have to be taken into account. And I have picked up with everyone in the chat, Simon and I will work out part 3 with Brian. So we're just happy that you guys want all these shows. we just have to fit them in.
It's 7 over 8. We've done Van Halen 3. We've already done it.
Yeah.
Go and check out the channel.
Hey, Jay, if you ever want to come on and hang out with us on a Van Halen show, we'd be grateful to have you if you ever wanted to come on. And Fruitcake Tony, Brad and I have been on your show. And the invitation for you also to come on our show is open too. So keep that in mind, guys. Appreciate it.
Yep. Now subscribe and like and do all that good stuff if you haven't already done that. Give us thumbs ups all the time. We're not even going to talk about anything else but thumbs up and positive stuff. So that's what we want. And yeah, we'd love to have you on, Jay and Fruitcake Tony. And yeah, we'll see what we've got in store for the next one. I'm not going to promise anything, but if it works out, it'd be really cool.
Yeah. So I'm going to just do a quick shout out again to everybody that's in the chat, and I'll pass on to my co-host to say goodbye. So Mark, thank you, brother, for joining us. Always cool. Jay 7 over 8, Mo Show, thank you. Johnny Heartbreaker, Fruitcake Tony, Hobo Roadie, good to see you. I'm sorry I missed you if you were in the chat earlier. Nelson, always good to see you. Good friend of the channel. Arvin, been there from the beginning. Foundation member. Thank you, Arvin. Who else have we got here? I'm just going up. Just bear with me, guys. British Electric Blues Show. Brad, thank you, brother.
Did you see we had Ginger Baker's channel was commenting on our stuff? That was pretty awesome.
Yes.
So hi, Nettie
Yeah.
Everyone
Chris Wheelton.
Check out those books, those Ginger Baker books.
Yeah. So, at one stage we had about 18, 19, 20 people watching us. We've got 14. So
that's great.
Give us some suggestions too. Give us some of some Clapton stuff that you want this show in particular to talk about. Put some stuff in the comments. Me and Mr. Johnson, certainly. It's got to be discussed. Got to be. This is, yeah. But you give us some.
Also mixed by Mick Guzowski, same guy who mixed the Cream Reunion.
Yeah. So Michael's going to give you that bit of stuff, that bit of information, guys, and Brad too, because these guys have studied that, and Brad's done it, and so's Michael. They've been to they know about production. So we're lucky to have these guys here with us, sharing their information. So stay safe, guys. I'm going to hand it over to you both to say goodbye to everybody too.
Yeah, all right. Well, thanks everyone for joining us, and thank you, Michael, again for joining us. It's always a pleasure, and we're all in awe of your playing. So thank you so much, and thanks, Andrew, again for having me on again. I'm part of the furniture now, anyway, Andrew. So like you said, you can't get rid of me now. So
no. This, yeah. If worse comes to worse, it will be the Andrew, Brad, Simon, Kurt, and Michael show.
Yeah.
Let's call it the British Electric Blues Show. How about that?
Cheers, guys.
So thank you everyone in the chat, and thanks for all your contributions, and give us lots of comments in the after the show in the comments section, and share our channel. Help us grow. We're doing really well, so keep it going. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you, Brad. Thank you, Andrew, for having me on the show again. It's an honor to be here. And thank you all the viewers who are sending great comments and offering great insight about these albums that we're talking about. So please comment your rankings for these songs. We would love to know your thoughts. So please comment that on YouTube and subscribe to the British Electric Blues Show if you haven't done so already. And we can't wait to see you for the next episode. Next episode's tomorrow, so don't miss it. Turn that reminder on. Bye,
Awesome.
guys.
Stay safe, everyone.
Thank you.